is difficult because you have to be a social media pro. But not only do you have to be a social media pro, you have to be a social media pro with an understanding that Goodreads is unlike any other social media platforms. And that's really, if you're new to social media and you jump on Goodreads, you're going to be dead in the water and lost. If you are new to social media and you expect it to be like Twitter and Facebook and Google Plus, you're going to be frustrated. So once I realized that Goodreads was a social media platform, but completely different than the others, I literally had to think outside the box, wipe my slate clean. Knowing what I know about Twitter, Facebook, Google Plus, I was able to step back and say, okay, let's assume this is its own little creature, and it is. Goodreads really is its own little critter. You have to step back and say, what is this? Really, what are we looking at here? It's complicated. And once I took that perspective, once I shifted everything to look at it in a different light, I was able to walk in and actually learn how Goodreads was set up. Once I did that, I flew with it. The first thing, the hardest thing that I had to come to terms with is the absolute lack of forum. When you walk into any platform, every one of them, Google Plus, Facebook, Twitter, you are given a little box right off that says, talk to people. Tell people how you are, your mood, tweet something. Right off. So even though you're dead in the water, you can type, help me, and somebody will answer. There's always somebody immediately. You can throw that life preserver out there and say, I'm dead in the water here, I just lost my oars, what do I do now? And people will swarm to help you. In Goodreads, there is no such place. There is, and it took me almost a year to find it, and I have yet to figure out how to actually access and read the posts and updates that I put out there for other authors. So it took me a year to learn how to post, and I still haven't figured out how to read this one particular section. So it is not a forum post. Once you understand that about Goodreads, you're at an advantage. It is an author page. If you view it, and that's just it. It's Amazon. It's most like Amazon's author page. But it's like Amazon's author page plus. You fill out your profile, you post it, you leave it. But there's a little bit extra going on around it, and that's where the Goodreads groups comes in. That's where the Goodreads giveaways come in. That's where all the activity around that author page come in. So honestly, if you walk in as an author thinking of Goodreads like Amazon author page plus, you're set. You'll know exactly what to do. And I think that's really where a lot of people struggle with Goodreads, is they walk in thinking it's Twitter or Facebook, and they're really looking at Amazon author page. The Amazon author page allows you to sync your blog with your RSS feed on your website. So if you post to your blog on your website, it will upload direct to your Amazon author page. Goodreads has the same feature. You can go right into Goodreads and post your own blog. You can blog on Goodreads. That's fine. So that is something a little bit more than the Amazon author page offers. You can access a little bit more. If you're on a Facebook or on an Amazon author page, you have the option to select a hyperlink, or there is no option to branch into the other social medias. If you are on the Amazon author page, you are there. You're not going to go to the website. There is no links out. There is no branching out. Goodreads gives you that. So again, there's another plus feature that Goodreads gives you that Amazon author page doesn't. Now keep in mind, the goal of any website is to keep you there. And Amazon knows this. It's very smart of them. They want you to stay on Amazon. They don't want you branching out, because the longer you are there on Amazon, the more likely you are to buy the books, which is what Amazon wants you to do. So they're not going to give you any of the links. Now, the links they do give you on Goodreads is buy the book on Amazon. So you select that, you go to Amazon, and you're there to buy. And if you want to get off, you have to physically close it down, which you are less likely to do when you are not presented with a hyperlink to leave. So kudos to Amazon on that marketing. It's very good. But Goodreads really, it's all in the groups. It really is in the groups. Once you realize that Goodreads is all about the groups, then you're set. And this is where I enter into the next stage with Goodreads. What good is it for? How do you use it? How do you use it to your advantage? Because then there's joining groups. You can join groups. You can create your own. Now, one of the problems that I ran into right away was I'm an introvert. I'm an author. We're all introverts for the most part. So when we go out there and we see that somebody has posted something, I type in fantasy. I mean, just take a moment and do that on Goodreads. You are going to get millions of groups, and each one of those groups is going to have like 10,000 plus people in them. There is nothing personal. There's nothing private. It's like a little drop stepping into an ocean. It's almost moot. I hate joining groups where there's a lot of people. I don't mind starting my own. I don't mind building up groups, but there has to be a focus. There has to be a central cause, and it's great for the host, for the moderator, but as somebody coming in, it's kind of a get there early or you're just kind of gonna get you're not gonna get noticed, and it's difficult. And this is where all the other you really have to stay on top of the threads. So what I've done, there's a lot of little things that I put in place with the groups. The first thing you need going in is you have to stay original. If you create just one more fantasy group, you are going to be just one more fantasy group. If you are going to go in and create a very, very generic group, you're going to get, you're just going to be one more bucket out there in the ocean. And that's really, Goodreads is an ocean, you are the drop, and the groups are the buckets. And right now there are so many buckets for fantasy out there. I mean, I started up an epic fantasy group on Goodreads. That was my first group, and it did nothing. I got 13 members. They all already knew me and were connected with me on a different platform, and the group did nothing. It was not original. There was nothing new that they could find elsewhere. So I really just sat there going, I deleted the group. So that's when I came up with some original ideas, and that's really where Goodreads, you have to take this approach with Goodreads. If you're going to create a group, it has to be something unique, original, and something no one else has done before. So that brought me on the, okay, I have a thing that I want to do, and I need a tool, and that's where Goodreads came in. That's exactly where I brought it from. Was I had an idea, and I needed the tools to utilize it. And I think that's where a lot of people put the cart before the horse with Goodreads, is they go on Goodreads and say, okay, I'm going to create a group. But they have no plan. They're there with the group, and there's just no direction. And I did that. I had like 3 or 4 groups where I did that. And then I realized I had everything backwards, and I needed the goal first. And then I created the group. Once I did that, it took off. And I remember when I came up with the idea for the cyber convention, I was actually on Google Plus in a group. And I went, okay, I have an idea. Let's do this. And the moderator basically came to me and said, that's a great idea. I love it, but we're not about that. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. And I left the invitation there. I'm like, go ahead and, here's the invitation, but I need to pull out a Google Plus for this. I needed a large platform where the majority of people were, but here is the kicker. I wanted readers. And that's where I decided, well, readers aren't on Facebook. They're on Goodreads. So I took it over to Goodreads, knowing that that's where all the readers were collected, all the passionate bibliophiles were, authors and readers alike. So I took it to Goodreads, and I was going to put it on my website, but I got to a point where I'm like, this is going to be big. I need to make sure it's in a location where it can handle the traffic. And in short, my servers couldn't. So I brought it over to Goodreads, created the group with hey, we're going to do a convention. And I was thinking it was going to be 20, 50 people max. And what ended up happening was I had 160 the first year. The second year, it expanded to 400. It literally quadrupled our ratio. It was phenomenal, the feedback that we got. And I mean, it was great because right after that, I had, at the end of 2015, one author took the initiative. And I love authors who take initiative. I love that they're like, I don't want to step on your toes. No, I don't have toes to step on. I stub them all off, so it's fine. He got right into it, and he said, you know what? I want to go ahead and talk about what worked, what didn't work. I want to talk about what we're going to do next year, thoughts. And it was a wonderful, I'm so glad he did it. I'm like, you know what? That's excellent. Yes, let's evaluate this. So this year I'm putting together a survey, and it really is a step back to assess, where did we go right? Where did we go wrong? What are we doing? It's really fascinating how this is growing. And it's funny because this year we're branching off into Facebook. I realized with Facebook being the number one social media platform out there, it's just foolish of us not to take advantage of that source. So we are also hosting events over on Facebook. Whether or not we'll branch out, honestly, I don't see us branching out beyond Facebook and Google Plus, or I'm sorry, and Goodreads. There's just so much complication with Google Plus right now regarding, and this is my personal reach. I have a reach on Google Plus, but getting people from there outside of Google Plus, I'm struggling with. I find people on Google Plus who are there tend to stay there, and I'm struggling connecting and working my connections out. So Facebook is working well for us. We have some very unique tools that are only applied to Facebook, such as the takeover events. I saw this one thing, again, only on Facebook, where it's a giveaway hop. Yeah, I guess a giveaway post hop, where I post my giveaway, and then I say, hey, while you're at it, check out this giveaway, and I link it to another author, and that author one, says, okay, here's my giveaway. Now, here, take out this giveaway, and they link it to author two, and it loops it around. So no matter when somebody is on, that giveaway is going to loop all the way around and keep everyone in the loop. And that's really what my goal is. Any project that I take on, it's okay. I'm standing here, this person's standing over. Let's network. And I mean literally, it's linking from point A to point B, and that's really. There's an author who's doing that with his books right now, where you buy his book and he's like, okay, now here, check out these authors. And the two of us have already collaborated and said, well, we're going to cross-reference back to you, so anyone who buys our books feeds it back to you. And I'm probably going to tag a couple other authors in there as well. It's really an amazing experience how we're all just kind of bonding together, forming this chain, and then building it up from there. And then that's really, honestly, that's what the convention is about. So, yeah.